Yo, what's up guys? Another video on Giants. And the main thing is, I made that Teshar video improving your team with the Teshar, but there's also quite a bunch of people that do not have a Teshar. And if you don't have a Teshar, well, let me get to the alt for that, and let's showcase the team that I've been running on here. It is not fast. It is full free to play. Arguably, this unit is not full free to play because you have to get it as a 3-star, but there are a few replacements for it, which I'll talk about later. There's definitely a whole bunch of replacements. You could go in for that Galleon and that kind of stuff. But in this case, I actually went for a team that is super safe. This doesn't fail at all and is decently fast, even though the runes are really garbage. So the runes are definitely 100% garbage, but there's actually one funny thing to it. Like, a lot of people have been going like, oh, Prillia is the way to go, right? Well, technically, yes, Prillia is kind of the way to go. However, Prillia is only good if you actually one-shot those waves. Otherwise, Prillia is not really that interesting. Sure, she has a higher chance of armor breaking than a Baedon has, but let me tell you that Baedon actually makes this run so incredibly safe because he has the most perfect AI of all units in the game. And let me explain why that is. His S2 is conditional to only be used as a strip the moment that there is a debuff. His S3 is only there to be used the moment that there is something to heal. Therefore, he will always armor break if the other two conditions are not met. Which means if there's nothing to strip, if there's nothing to heal, he will always go for the armor break. And therefore, he is the most perfect AI unit in the game. And that unit makes it very good for this dungeon. Would you use him in other dungeons as well? Dragons, he doesn't fit that much because you just fixed with the Lauren that the boss doesn't take a turn and stuff. But in this case, he just makes a lot of sense to get the armor break in. His armor break is a 100% activation. It does mean that it's 85 chance to actually land because of the resistance check. Prillia does have a higher chance of landing that defense break, that is true. But Prillia also multi-hits on the boss, which is not really beneficial. And were you to say, like, if you have way better runes than I do, definitely try to go for like a team with a Galleon and maybe a Leia and those kind of units. But this one is specifically towards like, okay, people, you don't have a Teshar because the moment this account has Teshar, I have a run that's like running 30 seconds. So definitely, if you have the chance from the event that we have with like the 10 times summon, if you happen to get a Teshar from it, get that Teshar from it. If you happen to see it in the summoning stone rotation, try to get that Teshar from it. Like, Teshar is very important for it. But if you don't happen to have that, you also don't have Galleon max skilled, which is the case for me as well. I don't have Galleon max skilled, but I'm also pretty sure Galleon would make this run a lot riskier. But there are places where you could say, for example, I replace the Shaman with a Galleon and therefore make my run a lot faster during the dungeons. It's going to be slower on the boss, but Sigmarus has the option to do damage from enemy max HP as well, to do a lot of damage on that. Might you ask, is the Sigmarus a must? No, Sigmarus is easily replaced by the Winter Homunculus, but it's just because I had the Sigmarus skilled up, I was like, okay, might as well use that Sigmarus. But there could be easily a replace of the Winter Homunculus for the Sigmarus. Winter Homunculus can also definitely replace the Shaman. You can put Naomi on that slot. You could put a Leia on that slot. There's a lot of options, but the most core thing about this team, I would say, is actually the Veramos and the Baedon. Those two are the most core thing to make it super safe. Any of the other units, you just speed it up. And Akamamir is definitely a very strong unit to speed up this whole dungeon because his S3 is a good wave clear, his S2 is a good wave clear, but his S2 is also enemy max HP scaling. So that does do a lot of damage as well. Veramos S2, enemy max HP scaling. Sigmarus S2 and S3, enemy max HP scaling. And then we have the Shaman, which is also enemy max HP scaling on the S2. So as you can see, like, just casual, like 60k flying from that Akamamir as well. The S3 doesn't do as much, but the S3 is very good for the wave clear. So as you can see, this team is like the safest team out there. Also, the two of the Ifrits make it that the side towers don't really get too much turns because the S2 for both of them has that pushback. So this team is definitely very safe. It's about 1 minute. It would definitely get faster the moment you have better runes. I would say if you want to speed this up to a lot faster potential, you probably have to put Galleon in one slot. I would say if you go Galleon and then the Homunculus. So I do have Galleon, I do have Homunculus, but they're not really, are they speed tuned to the point where it would make sense? Actually it is, except for you, like, you have terrible runes. But let's give that a run. Let's see how that works, because if Galleon goes for an S3, Akamamir goes for an S3, then we instantly have like a wave clear. Which, okay, Akamamir's kind of weak. let's just claim that Akamamir's kind of weak. So yeah, that would be pretty nice for a wave clear. Also, the homunculus is pretty weak. Everything is pretty weak, so I'm not even clearing this boss. But were you to say that you have enough damage where you clear these units with that as well? Because if those two go for an S2 and you go for an S3, you would definitely be able to clear the mid boss. So I would definitely say that this is a team where you still use Galleon, but it is very safe because the Veramos and the Baedon are just going to make this super safe. Were you to place a Prilia instead of the Baedon, your run is not going to be as safe. Like I'm guaranteeing you it. The run is not going to be as safe. So in this case, you can see like these units are super weak. They don't do any damage. I don't think you're skilled up. I think you might be skilled up. But look at the damage from those two units, right? So this would definitely give me a faster run. Actually, with already how I'm running it right now, this might be actually my fastest run right now. And this is, except for the Galleon, oh no, it's not. But except for the Galleon, full free to play. You do have to get the right units in there, and you do have to get the skillups in there. I do definitely recommend to go for the skillups, but you can also lag on some. So let's look at the runes first of the first team, and then of the replacement units as well. So we have the Shaman in here. First of all, we have the Akamamir. Akamamir are actually used for arena offense as well, so it's kind of on the fast side. You don't need this speedy on it, but it's just recommended to make it like decently fast. Accuracy to 35 is nice because then his S2 can also push back the boss, but you could also fix it in artifacts or anything like that. But as you can see, not really too special of anything in stats. The Veramos, you just want to aim for 100 crit rate and then resting crit damage 85 or 35 accuracy. If you want to use it for dragons as well, you have to go 55 or 60. No, wait, 65 even. And in this case, you don't go any attack because all of the damage is actually from the enemy max HP on that one. I recommended to go for speed around 120-ish, or like, no, wait, you want to go for the tick that's 124. So, but that is if there's no speed lead. If there is speed lead, as I have in the case of a Akamamir, then you have to go only 120. Or no, not 120, you have to only go 100 exactly. So you have to be the tick of 224 in total. And you get that because of the speed lead. So you go for above 224, so plus 124. If you don't have speed lead, with speed lead, 100 is just fine. Artifacts are also just focused on accuracy and, well, accuracy S2, that's more for the dragons. And then this is just for the damage and that kind of stuff. And then also in this case, I have damage water on it. If you do farm giants, definitely recommend to put some damage water on them. Baedon, you might ask, I actually have Vio on my Baedon because I use it a little bit here and there as well. But you don't need Vio on it. Just go for a swift set or triple fight, anything like that. Make it a bit tanky. It's definitely fine. You want to make it a little bit tanky. You want to give it the accuracy that you need in this dungeon, which is 35. And then recovery skill 3 is definitely the way to go on this unit as well. Might you ask for skillups? Skillups, I would recommend to max skill up. Akamamir is just a very good unit. Until you get a Teshar, you're definitely going to use Akamamir all the time. However, you can also use Akamamir in arena offense, siege offense. Like, there's a bunch of places you can use Akamamir, so it's not really a wasted Devilmon unit. Veramos is 100% must Devilmon because he's just one of the best units free to play that you can get. In all honesty, I would definitely rate this absolute triple S tier for what you can get because this unit is useful like throughout the whole game, even very late game siege offenses. We see it sometimes in RTA still, so that's definitely a good one. Sigmarus, would you skill up this unit? Probably not. Like, Sigmarus is nice, but you're probably gonna get at some point units that you might be better, and therefore you don't want to skill this up. But keep in mind this, you might say like, oh, that's a pretty good rage set. No, it's actually not really a good rage set. It's just literally one good rune, which I got from the last time of the dimensional raid thingy, like the monthly thing. And the rest of it is all not that crazy good. It's just a broken set. Like, broken sets mainly make it that you get the highest damage output in there. But this account has barely been farming at all, so keep that in mind. We also have some damage on water, and then we have some crit damage, skill 3, skill 2, that kind of stuff in there. Shaman is also for crit rate. It's actually mainly built for Necro, but therefore it's lacking a little bit of crit rate. Like, also, might you ask the question, do you need 100 crit rate? It's not the must. It just makes things better, but it's not a must. I would definitely say that you want to skill up this S2, so I do have some Devilmons I might actually give it to Shaman, because this skill goes 1 turn minus in cooldown, which is definitely good. But you first have to get that Shaman, which is kind of annoying. And it's still, it's actually still damage on water. I thought it was damage on dark, but yeah, it's damage on water and then crit damage S2. So for skill ups, Veramos must, Akamamir recommended, Shaman recommended, Sigmarus not so recommended, Baedon not recommended. Then we had the replacement units that I showcased if you go for, let's say, the Galleon and the Homunculus. The homunculus could also be a bunch of other units, like anything that does a damage on enemy max HP. Wouldn't really go for a Luna, because Luna is more specific if you also clear the waves at right timing and that kind of stuff. But a Lin would totally do fine. A Naomi would do fine. Naomi's just damage, no crit damage, just attack, and that's about it. But those units definitely do fine. Galleon, you do want to have your third skill maxed. Mine isn't fully maxed, it's missing one, so that's the cooltime decrease. You want to make this high accuracy and make it move in front, of course. And this thing for me is actually on a really weak build. This is really weak. And if you tend to use this, which you probably will keep using it for giants, I would recommend to scale it up as well. So in my case, I don't have it scaled up. Also, the artifacts are really bad, and therefore this unit doesn't do any damage for me. But I think if I go for this team, especially if I scale up the Spectra as well, or not the Spectra, the Shaman as well, I would probably be looking at 15-second average kind of runs. Like, it kind of depends on the derp still, but this would definitely be a very safe run. And I think it will be very nice. I think if I get the skill ups on both of the Galleon and the Shaman, this could definitely be pretty fast of runs. You could also say Galleon on Vio is a lot better if you happen to have the Vio runes that are faster than the rest of the team. Or Vio Fight even, that's the most recommended build. If you happen to have that, definitely helps out. So Galleon can get for derp and you can still hit it and things still go nice. In this case, he's just full derping. Not wanted to showcase how this run can be. But yeah, I think those are the units that I would recommend, unless you have a team that's... If you have way better runes, you can go for more riskier teams and you can remove like the Baedon and that kind of stuff. But I definitely do think, in all honesty, that the Baedon is way better than Aprilia. Aprilia is nice, it's niche, it's going to armor break, yes, sure, of course. But it's not going to heal your units. It's not going to strip anything if it's needed. It is multi-hitting, which you actually don't want, because then you get more counters in your face and you might die too. So if you feel that it's annoying that your dungeon run is failing from time to time, put in that Baedon, because Baedon, besides his armor break, also has a pushback on the S1. That also makes the boss just move less, so pretty safe of runs. This was just a very slow showcase of it, but yeah, that's just something for you to get an idea of what kind of dungeon teams you could run. And as a showcase, these runes are really shit, so you probably definitely have better runes. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like this video and subscribe to the channel, and see you as always in the next one. Also, let me know what kind of guides would you like to see next. Leave that in the comments, and see you at the next video.